Hussbus bus stop.
JP Hussey here, owner of the Hussey Team Mortgage Advisors, with this week's
Hussbus bus stop.
Number 1, go Phils. It's another exciting year. Got my hat on, a postseason hat. Go Phillies, go Birds, go Flyers, go Sixers. Anyway, today we want to talk about seller concessions, or what is known as seller's assist, okay? But before we do, all right, talk a little bit about the current housing world. It's been a crazy, even COVID, it's been a crazy 3 years or so, all right? Ups, downs all over the place, all right? If you follow markets at all and you read anything on housing or mortgages, mortgage rates are quote-unquote higher right now than what we've experienced in most of our housing lifetimes, all right? Obviously, if you talk to grandparents, parents, rates were much higher. But let's be realistic. Prices were a lot lower, okay? Now, prices are very high and rates are very high. So affordability, all right, is the big issue right now, all right? You can talk about inflation, you can talk about wage growth and if it's there and all that jazz, all right? It's definitely a different time. I've been in this industry 12 years. This is the first market like this that I've even really seen, okay? So there's a lot there. So I always go back to, all right, if it makes sense for you and your goals, all right? You can't let anybody tell you this is the best time to buy, okay? It could be, and I'm going to give you some examples of that, why it could, okay? But if it's not right for you right now, then maybe it's not right for you, and that's where you work with a good team that's going to set you up, whether you're buying now or you're going to buy in a couple years, work on your credit, help budget with you. That's what you need, all right? I've never been a big fan of the marry the house, date the rate type thing that you may have seen out there, okay? Because we don't know. We don't know if rates will come all the way down. I think they will have to stabilize back down, but my house thoughts are they're not going to go lower than maybe 5. Who knows, all right? So there's a lot that goes into this. We know the benefits of home ownership already. Lots of benefits. For instance, cash out refinances. If you owned a home, you bought 5 years ago, you've gained some really good equity. Life takes you in a twisty-turny way where you have a couple kids, you have some debt, something big popped up, and you need that equity now to reset. That's a big benefit of being a homeowner. It gives you other things than just owning a house. If you rented, you may not have that opportunity. So there's a lot of different benefits, all right? But again, it's got to be right for you and your family. But I digress. So, right now, all right, we're in a time, it's end of October 2023, and affordability, like we said, may be a little bit of an issue. There's a lot of headlines. Rates are high, so people are kind of getting out of the market. We're getting into winter around Philadelphia, all right? So, for the past really couple years, you have seen that the sellers have all the leverage. They're basically 60 offers come in, they're just taking the higher so they'll get it done. They're making all types of money, the sellers, okay? But now, maybe that demand has kind of settled a bit, okay? Because maybe rates are high, people got discouraged about the market, whatever it might be, all right? So demand could be a little bit lower. And when some of the leverage goes back to the buyers, you start to see some seller's concessions or seller's assist. We're seeing that start to creep back, which is good, which means we are going back to more of a balanced market, okay? So let's just talk about what seller concession, seller assist is. It's really simple. Sometimes people get very confused over this. It's just a credit from the seller's proceeds, what they make on selling their house, that goes to the buyer to help pay closing costs. This could be to buy down the rate. It could be to pay title insurance, transfer tax, whatever it is. It's usually a dollar amount. Every loan is different of how much you can get. All right, FHA, no matter how much you put down, you can get up to 6% of the purchase price in a seller assist or a seller concession. So a $100,000 purchase price, that's $6,000 to help pay closing costs. All right. Conventional loans, if you put 10% down or more, you can get 6%. But if you put less than 10% down, you can only get 3%. Investment properties are capped at 2% of the purchase price, okay? So every loan is different, so make sure you're figuring that out if you're going to put that into an offer, okay? But since there's some of the leverage has moved to the buyers, you're seeing some of these concessions come back, or homes not going way over asking price. Who knows, okay? But that's kind of what we're seeing. So that is what a seller's assist is. So if a seller, let's just say, is making a $100,000 off the sale of their home in the extra money that they have, all right, and they get a $6,000 seller's assist, the sellers would just get $94,000 back. It's really that simple. Some people say it's built into the loan. Not necessarily. Some people will say, hey, let's raise the purchase price by $5,000 and then give the buyer back $5,000, so it's basically a wash, okay? One thing you have to be careful about there is the home still needs to appraise, all right, where that purchase price is, so you have to be careful there. But that's one way that some people will appease both the buyer and the seller, all right? So think about that when you strategize, all right? Now, one thing I will say that I do believe in, if rates are like 8% right now, let's say 7.5%, 8%, if not higher, depending on your goals and how you want to structure your loan, okay? Let's say they're there. Let's say rates drop to under 6, all right? A whole point, let's say, 6% even. You're going to see a flood of buyers because the media will start telling you, hey, rates have dropped. A flood of buyers getting back into the game, all right? What does that mean? That probably means that now the sellers are going to have more leverage because it's typical supply and demand. Not that many listings, ton of buyers. Now the sellers have all the power, and then these seller concessions could go away, all right? So that's something to think about if that were to happen. That's why right now we're seeing a little pocket where the buyers, it might be a good time to buy even the rates are higher, all right? And you look at typical appreciation of homes at an average 4%, let's say. Your home's going to appreciate. You're going to get the house now. And then if this marry the house, date the rate comes back, then you could refinance. So in the grand scheme of things, I'm trying to get granular for you and give you some examples, all right? But what does it come down to? Does it make sense for you and your family? Do you have a good plan, all right? Do you understand that you're not necessarily trapped? There's always going to be options for you, okay? And it could be good to get into the market right now, even though rates are a bit higher, because now you're going to get in with maybe some seller concessions to have less money at closing. Maybe you get a house that's not above asking, so you're getting the house maybe in a good spot, even though rates are high, and then you have the house, and then later, if and when rates drop, now you refinance and you fine-tune it, all right? So I hope this helped. If you have questions on this, please let me know. And make sure whatever you're doing, you're working with a team that has your goals in mind. Have a great day.
Hussbus, bus stop.